to VIP Podcast with Giovanna
and Patty.
Thank you for all our viewers, listeners, because now we're on Podbean, iTunes. I believe we're on Spotify too. So we're going up. YouTube, if you want to see us. I mean, I recommend YouTube. No, just so you can see us.
Yeah. But
welcome
listen.
back.
Yeah.
So we are excited. VIP is a very important person. And on VIP Podcast, we like to remind our viewers that it takes a very important person to push past the pain that you rather sit and die in. So it takes an important person to just push through that when at times, sometimes death tastes sweeter.
Yeah.
So without ado, we just are excited for our VIP guests. Yes, we got two. So we're excited. I don't know, our viewers, if you have watched last episode, you got to watch last week's episode.
Because then you know what's happening on this episode.
Yeah, because we're excited to have Andrea back. Welcome back, Andrea. And we got her bestie with us, her best friend, Chris.
Yes.
Christina.
Super excited.
Yes.
We're super, super honored and privileged to. These are our besties now.
Yes.
Because we've traveled together and now we've become besties.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you watched last week's episode. I said that we got close through pain because my feet were in pain because we found ourselves running through the airport all together like craziness. And I had chanclas. I had chanclas, guys. So just picture that. Like my little toes were like holding on
Like
for
this.
dear life and
Clawing.
trying to run to the plane. Don't leave me. Don't leave me.
Yeah.
Like Chris
But-
just ran by all of us because we were all wearing chanclas.
Not me. I was wearing sneakers.
She was smart. She wore the sneakers, Chris.
Yeah.
She ran past us twice, ran back and back. Yes, still beat us. And was out of breath. But there was victory in that.
Yeah,
pain.
we made it. And we made it.
Yeah.
Yes, victory, definitely.
Yes, so we're excited to have you back, Andrea.
Yes.
You shared a
ladies.
very powerful testimony, just the victory in the pain.
Yes.
And so I know a lot of our viewers were excited at the edge of their
we
seat
said
to
part
say, what
two,
happened?
yeah.
We said part 2 and you're here. So we want to hear about the victory in
The process?
the process of being
Restoration.
Yes, definitely. So let's see. Where did I leave off?
Yeah. You were beating
So,
somebody up.
I was beating somebody
Oh, wait, no, that was a little bit before.
that was my favorite part.
So yes, I encountered God. He changed my life. Like I said, he turned my world from upside down to right side up. He restored me. He began to walk with me, teach me. I started serving in church and going to church all the time and just loving it because there was always something going on Monday through Friday Monday through Sunday at our church. Something was going on. I was so hungry. Even if it was cleaning the toilets, there I was. I felt like I was closer to God. cleaning the
throne.
exactly. I'm like, somehow I was like, I'm there.
You're like,
I was
I have arrived. Spiritual.
I was a waitress at that time. I remember just all my tips. I would just dump them out in the after. I was so like, I'm sold out.
I wish I was at that level.
Oh, I was sold out.
Yeah.
I told you that I left church that day just like I set free and just a different person. I felt I could see different. I could see the bird. I could hear the birds. I could see the sky. Like everything looked just beautiful.
different.
Right. Wanted to tell everybody about Jesus, just serving that way. And so, long story short, let me see if I can make this short. I was serving. And fast forward about 6-7 months, I guess.
Wow.
I was serving in the church, and I started dating somebody. But this guy is a good guy. Everything. I mean, like somebody I would, really, all good qualities.
Right.
So I started dating him.
Yeah.
He loved the Lord. He had a son. Like I was like, oh, okay, yeah. But something wasn't clicking, right? I just didn't feel like that he. I don't know.
And it had the peace and the release.
Yeah, thank you. And he started getting serious, already talking about marriage. I'm like, we just started.
That's crazy.
Hold
I
on.
in church. Everybody all of a sudden, they hear the Lord.
All of a
You're
sudden-
supposed to be my wife.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, okay. But again, I didn't feel the peace. So I went home that day from church. Or I guess we were somewhere. I don't know. I went home and I started saying, God, praying about it. Like, Lord, is this guy my husband? Am I going to get married again? Like,
Yeah.
I want to know, what do you have for me? Am I supposed to be with this guy? Am I not? You know, what's going on? And I'm on my knees praying. I have my face down at the ground, you know, and I'm asking God. And all of a sudden I see a flash before my eyes of my ex-husband.
Wow.
I'm all, oh, no. I was so, like, I don't want to say angry at God. Sorry, Lord. But I was like,
real.
like I jumped so fast from that, from the floor. And I was just like, I didn't want to talk to God anymore. I'm like, why is he showing me a picture? Oh, by the way, when I was down there, I heard, you have a husband.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, no. He left me. Don't you remember? He left me. He walked out on me. Because by then I'm just like, I'm done with this guy. Like, we were co-parenting at this time, had a good relationship, right? He was a good dad. And, you know, everything, that's the way I wanted to keep it, right?
Yeah.
We had already been divorced for 6 years. I was like,
Wow.
yeah, I was like, I'm good. Like, you're my you know, we're co-parenting. That's it.
6 years.
6 years, yes. And so I was like, okay, whatever. I just like, okay, no, that wasn't the Lord.
Yeah.
That wasn't the Lord.
That was really bad. Carnitas that I had her.
Shouldn't have went to that taco truck. I knew it.
So I'm walking later on in the house. I'm still at home with my parents at this time. I'm walking by and my dad just randomly says, you know what, Andrea? I think you're going to get back with Carlos. My ex-husband. I'm all, why do you say that, Dad? He's I don't know. I just feel like you. Mind you, he liked this new guy I was dating.
Wow.
Right.
So that came out of like nowhere. I'm like, oh. And then so I just, whatever. Why did my dad say
Yeah.
that? Go hang out with my aunt that evening. And she's like, you know what, Andrea? I just feel like the Lord wants me to tell you that you're going to get back with Carlos. They all knew I was dating this guy. They all liked him. He was at family functions. And so for her to tell me that, I'm like, God told you to.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, no, I just try to
man.
ignore it. Go home that weekend, Saturday, my ex-husband at the time was coming to pick up our son, and he hands me a note after he picked up my son and took off. So I'm long story short, that I opened the note and the note says, I'm in love with you. I've always loved you. I've never stopped loving you. I'm like, what the heck? I joke about it. I'm like, God, I know you said double for your troubles, but 2 guys? I'm like, like, because I was dating one guy.
Yeah.
Well, 2
You're
lovers.
switching the roles. I have concubines now. I'm the female.
You're like, this is Old
I'll take
Testament.
TJ. Yeah, Old Testament.
Old Testament,
Just
but you
kidding
know,
for those that are religious.
Yes, we're just
Kidding, but not kidding. So I got 2. Okay, keep. I like it to start.
I'm all
I got 2.
So I go to church the next, and then it's a Sunday, right? I go to church, and my ex-husband sitting in the sound booth.
No. Already in ministry, like jumped right into sound.
I'm all, what the heck is he doing here? Thank God the boyfriend didn't go to church. Because can you imagine there would have been a scandal up in church? You know? Like her
Old
girls did,
Testament. Yeah.
Scandalous.
Scandalous. So I'm like, Dad, what is Carlos doing here? He's like, oh, I asked him to run sound. We didn't know.
You're like,
You know,
seriously,
something-
Dad?
And I asked him, I'm all, Dad. Okay, that's good. Maybe, you know, yeah, whatever. We have a prophetic guest speaker. She's a prophet. She's a prophetess.
Wow.
Okay.
There was no prophet line that
No,
night.
there's no prophet line. Long story short, this lady gets
Yeah.
up in front of the church, starts prophesying over everybody, called everybody up to the front,
Right.
right? So it's me, my dad, and then she calls the sound guy out too, right? So he comes over here, he's all like whatever, just there to run sound, but she calls him up. So everybody's lining up. She's going,
Oh
bam,
my
just
goodness.
reading, just like
Yeah,
prophesying, download, and she comes to me. She starts telling me all this. God's going to use you in your powerful way.
Yeah.
God's going to,
Yeah.
I mean, just all this stuff he's all, but there's some things that he's going to ask you to do. And when he asks you to do them quickly.
Ooh.
I'm like, oh,
You're
my-
like, do I talk quickly? Do I have to share my testimony?
I do everything fast. I do everything.
Okay.
Are you willing to do that? And I said, yeah, praise God. Yeah. Because I'm sold out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So then she moves on to my dad, starts talking to my dad, and then she moves on to my ex-husband.
Yeah.
She starts to go in on him, and then
Yeah.
she's all, wait, how do you know him? Asking my dad.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, well, he's my, he doesn't know what to
to
say.
say.
Like,
It's
and
like,
she's all,
awkward.
wait a minute, backs up even further. How do you know her? And he's all, she's my ex-wife. She's all, do you have kids together? And then we said, yeah. And then long story short, she's like, God wants to restore this marriage. Just like that. Do
Out
you
on
remember what I
blast.
just asked you to do? I said,
Called you
oh,
out.
yeah. She's like, do it quickly. God wants to restore your marriage. Come here and let me pray for you. Blessed us both. Called our son out from children's
Children's
church.
church.
Wow.
Blessed our son. And then she was done just like that, moved on.
You turn your life around and we move on.
Get back together. God's restoring.
Yeah,
do it quickly.
And do it quickly.
And then
So
bye.
that weekend, I was going out to visit my sister in Las Vegas, and I was just in a fog. Didn't know what. I did not love him. I didn't love this man anymore.
Yeah.
How am I just gonna jump back into it? I had no feelings for this man. How am I gonna just jump back into this? This is no God. I love you, and I'm willing to do everything, but he hurt me. Like, no,
Right.
we're good. Like, you
Yeah.
have somebody else for me. So I'm trying to tell God, and I just kept hearing what the prophetess said, like,
Wow.
do it quickly. Do it
Wow.
quickly, because the Lord's going to use me, and He's going
Wow.
to use me. And this is my story, right? There's, you
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
Yes.
there's,
Yeah.
but for me, this is what He was speaking to me. Like, I needed to restore this. So I get back from Vegas, and I'm just like, God, I'm going to do anything you want me to do. My life is yours. Whatever you're asking me to do, I'll do it. And I called him up, and I said, you know what? I'm willing to date you. And of course, he was like, always been in love with me. Apparently, he's never stopped being in love with me.
Yeah, he loved me,
right? He
so,
woke
yeah.
up. He woke
You
up.
don't have to fight
and-
for me.
So I started dating him. We
Wow.
started dating very quickly. 6 months later, it's Christmas, and there's a little box under the tree. And I'm like,
You kicked it.
I kicked it over. I grabbed the box under the
Wow.
tree, and I opened the box. It's a gift that he's given me. Open it, and I'm nervous, and I open it up, and there's 2 little pearl earrings. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Close the box.
Oh, thank God, thank you. As I'm turning around, he's on his knee with the diamond ring, asking me
Dang,
to
so
be
you
his
got
wife.
pearl earrings and the
And a
diamond
diamond
ring?
ring?
Double?
And I got more romantic
Wow.
story.
And a romantic. Wow.
And so yeah, shortly after we were married.
So keep that on pause.
Yes.
Victory in the pause. Keep that on pause
Yes.
because I'm sure there's a process even in through getting back in. You're saying, I'm not sure I love this person,
Right.
but I'm saying yes, God. And that
Right.
sounds like, God, why would you have that? So we'll pause on that because Chris here, we're going to call her Christina, is your best friend.
Yes.
So I was
And
part of that.
So you were
She
a
was
part
part
of
of
that. You were
We
there.
started going to church together at that time.
Wow. So tell a little. So where were you at in this time?
So at this time, I had been married for, I don't know, like 4 years or something.
So
5
you were
years.
married. Okay.
Yeah, I was married. And I started going to church because my husband wanted like a break or whatever. So one of my friends invited me and she's like, do you know the Valencia girls? And I'm like, yeah, I went to school with them because we had gone to high school together.
So you used to party with her.
No.
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 We didn't know. We just
We
knew.
didn't- yeah, we knew
of
each other.
Uh-huh.
Like we would say hi. I think we had one class together, but
We
I
graduated
was
the same year, but we weren't friends.
No, I wasn't a partier. I didn't drink. I was just kind of like, we're talking about
That's
Yeah,
me.
she was the.
She was surprised.
She's right. I'm all
That's why they're wearing black. Nah, just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah, I was with. Yeah.
So yeah.
yeah. So no, none of that. Sorry.
Like, it's fine.
I should have met you though. We should have been friends.
yeah, we should have.
But we wouldn't have been here today if we didn't.
Yeah. So so I started going to church there. We started serving. You know, my husband was. After a few weeks, it was fine. We got back together. I mean, he never really left. It was just kind of, you know, he was confused or whatever. So,
Yeah.
so you know, so I mean, yeah.
confused,
So he came
yeah.
back, and so we were good for a long time, and so we stayed friends.
Because at this time they said, do you know that you're like, oh, I went to school. So then
Yeah.
at this time your husband said, oh, kind of like want a weekend away from him.
Well, yeah, it was like a month or something.
month or
and
so,
Then, yeah.
so-
So I was like kind of devastated, and I started going to church there, started serving. He came back, like I said, and then
Wow.
we were just like
Instantly.
instantly,
Wow.
like instantly. So so I went through that stuff with her, and then I remember
Wow.
we had another prophet come, and we were sitting next to each other, of course, and he came and prophesied and tells her, you're gonna have more children.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, "No, isn't that for her?" Like, because I had been trying. We
She's
had been
been praying
trying
for children.
for my whole like since I had gotten married, I had never had children.
And you were married already
Probably about 5 years. Yeah.
and still
Okay.
no
yeah,
baby.
so no babies. So then, we serve and stuff, and of course, life moves on. I left the church. We changed pastors, all that kind of stuff. I left to go to a different church. She moved to Clovis, but I always stayed in contact with her parents because her parents owned a store. So I would go in there and be like, "Hey, how's Andrea? Like, I haven't talked to her. I'm her daughter's godmother too." So we would.
You're her
We
comadre.
just got busy. Yeah, we just got busy,
Yeah.
So then one day, she calls me up and she's like, "Hey, it was like in what year?
2017.
2017. She calls me up and she said, and we had just gone to your birthday party. I don't want to
My
say
40th.
Your 40th.
My 20th. My 20th.
Her 21st.
Your 35th birthday party.
I was like, ooh.
Again.
So we had gone, my husband and I had gone, and it was fun, and stuff. And then she calls me up one day and she's like, "Hey, let's get together." We hadn't seen each other since then. And I said, "Okay, let's get together." She's like, "We'll meet at your mom and dad's place, So, because she was already in Clovis by then, and I was still in Wheatley, and she's like, "I had a dream about you," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, so we sat down, we get together, and she's like, "I had a dream about you. I had a dream that you and your husband were getting a divorce." And I said, "Well, actually, he left me."
Wow.
Like out of the blue, just packed up and was like, "I'm done. I don't want to be married." After like 16 years of marriage, he just like walked out.
Wait, you said 16?
16.
By this time,
By
yeah.
this
By
time,
this
I
time,
had already been married.
16.
Never
Wow.
we never were able to have kids. So I was devastated. Like my whole life was just like, what the heck is going on? Like,
Yeah.
what is
Right.
going on?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I was just, and she was just like, oh my goodness. So, the Lord put me in her heart.
Yeah.
Thank God, because I wouldn't have been able to get through any of this without her. I mean, she's been there for me like the whole time. So, so I was, and I know we just talked about this. She said, she told the Lord, "You couldn't restore my marriage. I'm done."
Yeah.
And I was like, I threw myself into the Lord. I was like
Wow.
fasting and praying, and God, I know you can do this, and I know you can fix this, and I know. So that went on for a couple of years. Like I was just standing in the gap. I was just praying. I was just like fighting for my marriage and just knowing that God was going to restore it. Like I knew that I knew that he was going to restore it.
Yeah.
Everyone around me was like, just hold on. It's going to be okay, And I'm like, okay, God, I trust you. I believe you. Even if we get a divorce, like it's going to be a new chapter, like all these things,
Yeah.
It was, I just really had faith that it was going to work out the way it was supposed to. So, but you can't force anybody to listen to God or want what God wants for you. So I could be fighting all I want, but if the other person isn't willing to listen to what God's telling them, there's only so much that me and God can do, because we all have free
Right.
will.
Yeah.
So in that free will, he's not ever going to force anybody. So I remember I was going to her house one day, and it had been probably a couple months since I had seen him because his job took him away, so he wasn't around. So I hadn't seen him in a couple months. And so I was driving to her house, and I'm like, okay, God, I had decided I'm going to file for divorce. So I hadn't seen him. And
What are you gonna do?
what are you going to do? So I was like, and in the back of my head, I said, unless I see him today, then I won't get a divorce. Which I hadn't seen him. I'm like, I'm not going to see him. Who knows? He's at a fire. He's up in the mountain. Like,
Where is he?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm driving to go meet her, and I'm driving over there, and I get to the stop sign, and the one place that I would probably see him, I was like, I didn't see him. So then I'm driving down the streets over there because I live in Wheatley, and going the back way to her house. And all of a sudden, God slows down time when I tell you, slow motion, he's going in the opposite direction. It's like he's in the passenger side, and I just see him, his hat, his glasses just kind of sitting there. And I'm like, there's no way.
Wow.
There is no way, God. There's no way. So I like turn, because he would carpool and stuff. So I turned around and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was him. That was him. I get to where we're meeting because we're going to church that night, and I'm bawling, and she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I was going to file for divorce, and I told God, but if I see him, I won't. And so I couldn't. God said no.
Yeah.
So I didn't file. So then I find out, God really did want to I know God really wanted to restore, and I find out other things, and I'm just like, okay, God, like I've been standing, I've been fighting, like what do you want me to do? And everyone was always so encouraging and just praying for me. I mean, I would be at her house we would have Bible studies at her house on Friday till like midnight. I think those were the best. Like every Friday, I was always in church. I was doing something. I was in my, I had to live with my parents for like a year. So I just got into my Bible, got into my word. my mom and dad would be like, we didn't even know you were here. We thought like you had left or something, because
Yeah.
I would be in there just spending time with God, and just, that's where I got all my strength. Like
Wow.
it had to be
Wow.
the Lord. Because as much as I loved everybody and everybody was encouraging, at the end of the day, everybody goes home to be with their family.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I had to go
Yeah.
home to be with
Yourself.
myself,
Yeah.
And your thoughts.
and my thoughts and the Lord.
true.
So he was he was just there. Like no one can ever tell me that he's not real, because he held my hand. He held me, like he was there. So I lived with my parents for about a year, and then I got my own place. And so, we kind of talked, him and I talked a few times and stuff, but he was like, I'm going to file for divorce. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what happened? And I never got my answer. Like, I don't know. And sometimes you won't know, like you
good.
won't find
Right.
out.
That's good.
And you just have to trust God and know that you have to heal and move on, and you might never get your answers, and that's okay,
And I love, because you guys are best friends. So now you're looking, you've obviously wanted to have a baby. And I know you and I had the opportunity to sit and just really talk when we were in Georgia,
Yeah.
and sit at the table and share. And one of the things you said, it wasn't that you didn't love your husband, like your life was around your husband. Like you love him.
I like how you guys were talking in the
Yeah.
last episode. He was like he became my idol, and I see that now. Like I just
Right.
wanted to do everything for him. I wanted to do, I idolized him. I put him above God, which
Yourself
yeah,
and
and
God,
myself,
and-
everything. And so I just wanted to do everything to make him happy, and our God's a jealous God. He doesn't want that,
But
and I loved God too,
yeah. And I
but-
love that, though. I love that you're sitting here, you have best friend, and this just kind of goes against what not everybody,
But
there's people that would
People.
say this, like, okay, there's a formula in how it's supposed to be done, right? God
Right.
is God if he does it like this, right? So while you're praying, you're not even praying for your husband to come back.
Reconciliation.
You're
You're
not
like,
praying for that.
done.
You're on your knees pretty much like, God, this is all I want. You're praying to have a baby, and you feel like you weren't able to, because you still are waiting for that, because that's your promise. I'll let you go into that. And here you're hearing a prophet is prophesy over, or a prophet, right? Prophesy over Andrea and say, you're going to even have more children. How do you explain that? How do you
Yeah.
even stay in that place of being, you can't even say that God is not God, because I'm looking at you and there's such this overflow of love for God, your love for her,
Right.
the excitement that I see that you have for your best friend while she's getting everything you're praying to God for. But sincerely praying for it.
Right.
And I know that even in the midst of you going through what you were going through, you had a loss of someone that was super special to you. So you're even having something else on top of that. How does one stay when you're seeing
yeah, just it almost feels like there's pain on top of pain on top of another layer of pain.
while you're seeing someone else's miracle that you want? How do
But
you
I
get the
never- I
victory
never-
in that? How do you do that for someone that is listening and they're like, it's not fair? Because I remember being a younger girl when I first gave my life to the Lord. My prayers were, I want my girls' dad to give his life to the Lord, even though he was absolutely crazy and toxic for me. We weren't healthy for each other. But I wanted him to get saved, and it would be good, and we would serve
Yeah.
Jesus, kumbaya, and we'll shando together, and he's gonna be pastor, I'm gonna be pastor, and it wouldn't come. But I would see other people walking in that I knew that they were trying to pick up on me while they still had their wife. Like, God, why do you have that, and you won't give it to me?
Right.
And so I'm gonna be
Right.
transparent and vulnerable, even to our listeners, that I was angry at God. I was upset because I could not stand to see families together, because it was a reminder that I wasn't special, that I wasn't good enough for God to hear my prayers. And then it reversed right back to the enemy, or my
Right.
earlier age, that I wasn't important enough,
Right.
that I wasn't loved, I was different. How do you tell the viewers that you sit here still with so much joy, and we know what the right answer is, but
Right.
what was the process to get that victory? Because was it always that you were just super joyous like this, or did things happen where you almost felt like, oh,
During the whole time that we were separated, so we were separated 2017. I don't think he filed till like 2019, the end of 2019, and then 2020 came, and it delayed. Everything was so delayed. I think when we were married and we were really trying to have kids, every time someone would get pregnant, we would look at each other and be like, what the heck is going on? Like,
yeah,
we got married and we did it, and all these people are, So at that time, I think I was when I was married, I think I was a little bit more bitter at that time, to be perfectly honest, because we would look at each other and be like, another one? Like, I'm not even joking. There was probably like between us 15 people in our family from, both of our sides that were pregnant, and we would and it was hard for me to go to baby showers. It was hard for me to do that kind of stuff, but I was happy for them, but it was hard for us.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I will always be grateful to him because he was there for me, and he was always, he had to pick me up out of the shower a couple of times and I just lost it. So I was always be grateful to him. Like, people go through things, and I wish him the best and stuff. But I think that my childhood and like just my dad is an amazing father, and he always showed us love. And I think it's easy for me to accept God's love because of how my dad is.
Yes.
And my
Yes,
parents, my mom and my dad,
Right.
but my dad especially was very encouraging and just very loving. My mom too, but I think it's easy
But
to
from a
accept
father.
from a father. Yeah,
It's this
so
affirming that happens.
I always tell people, my brother could plant a seed and it's supposed to be a flower and it comes up a weed, and he's got, good job, mijo, I'm proud of you. That's just my dad's just like that. And so my family is amazing. I grew up with in the middle, so much love. My grandparents each lived on one side of the ranch of us, all my cousins, all my uncles. So I had that, like I had all of that. And once all of this happened, I had to really reconcile, like, it's me and God. And I just wanted to, people didn't even know that I was going through that. Wow. I mean, a year later, someone from work found out and they were like, I never would have guessed because you come in here smiling and happy and loving God. And I think it just pushed me closer to the Lord, honestly. Like it really did.
Isn't that interesting? Because there's Andreas was like, nope, no, I'm not going to serve you, Lord. And we all respond to pain differently.
Yes.
And not one is wrong or one
Right.
is right.
That's so
Yeah.
good.
So I just threw myself into anything and everything that had to do with ministry. And then I was surrounded with all these amazing women, all these amazing women of God, because when I was married, it was mostly his friends and his friends' wife, I just did my own thing. I didn't really go out. I didn't really put myself out there.
Yeah.
So then I changed careers, and then I was on my own. So I had to kind of become more social. Not just hide behind.
I guess I have to say hello to
Yeah.
people.
I guess I shouldn't run the other way at the grocery store. When I see somebody. Because she was the one that I really hung out with most of the time, or my aunts or my sister and stuff. So I just love to see people happy. Like, I know that I want that. And I know that was supposed to be my story, but sometimes things don't work out, and I just have to be grateful for what I learned.
Wow.
And just move on. And I when I tell you, I begged and I pleaded with the Lord, and I prayed and everything. And then finally, when He said, "You're done. I'm releasing you,"
Wow.
I said, "Okay, God." It still took a little bit longer, like to still
Right.
heal
Right.
completely and stuff.
Right.
But I was gonna fight until God said that was it. And I really did, even after the divorce. Like, we were, even after we got the paperwork came through and everything. I thought, oh well, maybe we can. And God still hadn't released me. I thought, okay, well, this is one chapter that needs to be closed.
Yeah.
6 years, like, God can do anything, even divorce, like, we'll start fresh. And then after a few, probably like a year or something, God was like, you're done. Like, you're not going to stay there anymore. You're not going to fight for this anymore. You're done. And I'm like, okay. And it was He was so gentle with me, because even when I was in the ministry with Butterfly Kisses, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but they do their conferences, which is a major conference for them, up at Wonder Valley.
Oh, yeah.
And so that first year that I went there, I was like, okay, God, this is a sign, because that's where we got married.
Wow.
And so I remember the last conference that we had, it was the Bride of Christ. And it's like, God just was so good every year. He just renewed me and He strengthened me. And it's like He gave that back to me, like that place where, not that it was, the first year was a little bit hard, but after that, it was like a whole new experience for me. And it was something new, and it was something beautiful, and it didn't bring me sadness anymore.
Wow.
So God really did restore me. He reconciled me. And I just feel like I'm excited for the next chapter,
Yeah.
even though it didn't come out the way I really
Right.
thought it was going to. It's not wrong.
It's
you
not.
know?
And I love that because
Yeah.
I think even being careful that we don't compare our stories
No.
or our
Yeah.
situations with the next person, saying, well, it has to happen like this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then if it doesn't, then God, you know, you can find yourself hearing the lies like, oh, what was wrong with me? Why didn't my story turn
Turn
out
out
like
that way.
this?
Yeah.
But we don't know. And the thing is that's why we have to know who we are, love who we
are,
are.
yeah.
And the only way we can love who we are is to love the experiences that we've been through, including the pain, including the pain, because it's who we are
Right.
is in Christ, right? In Jesus is who we are. It's who I find I truly am. But it might not look like the next person.
Right.
Right.
You know, because here you have two best friends, both love God. You know,
Yeah.
you guys have decided like this is the life I choose to live. I choose to live a life because, you know, free will, like you
Right.
said, we choose to live a life for Christ. And this is our story, completely different, but God, there's victory in both.
Yeah.
Victory in
Yeah.
both.
I
There
like that
is-
you said that not this one's not right, nor is this one wrong, or the, you know, vice versa. It's just the story.
Right.
It's part of their life. It's part of who God is transforming us to be. But sometimes we put a label on something or someone. We say, oh no, like you said, this is the formula. So if it doesn't look like this, or if you're not doing it like this, then the outcome is not going to be favorable.
If you're not
you're-
doing it the way I like, so we have
Right.
to be careful. Well, if you're not praying like I pray, if you're not in every ministry like I am, if you're not
Right.
in every conference, if you don't shanda like I
good.
do,
Yeah.
if
Right.
you don't praise like I do,
good.
if you don't raise your hands like I do, then you are not serving God wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Right.
You're not hearing Him. You're not and we're not careful. Then we give God there's misconceptions that we allow the enemy to play on other people
Yeah.
that are watching, right? But here you have, I love it because here you're like, I didn't hear you guys. I am not getting married again. Like, no.
No.
And he says, and do it quickly.
Yes.
And do it quickly. Here you're like, I'm going to wait for him. Even when we're divorced, Lord, I have hope. It won't
Yeah.
go. And he says, you're released.
Isn't that something?
Isn't
Yeah.
that powerful
Yeah.
in something? And I love that God does opportunities like this. And,
Yeah.
that, you know, there's someone watching and hearing right now, and they keep trying to figure it out.
Right.
Why? Figure out why things happen the way they do. And it's until we completely surrender,
Yes.
That's right.
just surrender. You never know. Like now, with your husband, you guys are going to be celebrating, you said 16 years, 17
17.
years. And you did have more babies. Did
We
you?
did. I had 2 little girls.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys have a total of
3 children. Yeah.
Together?
Together. Yeah.
and no other children.
No other children.
So
Wow.
you
Not
guys,
so little either. The girls.
Oh, they're my little ones.
they're always
They're
little.
like
We
they'll
talk
always
about
be your
that.
little girls.
Yeah.
We talked about that too, like how we still see our kids all little and stuff.
I was trying to buy them a locket. Remember that?
Yeah, we were in Georgia.
Like,
She was trying
no.
to buy a little locket, little cute one
A
for
little-
like. I was like, "Oh, is your daughter 5?" She's like, "No, she's like 15."
I'm like, yeah, don't buy
don't
that.
buy that.
Don't buy that for her. We're like, yeah, really.
But yeah, adorable
But
children.
you know
yeah.
that is such a powerful testimony between the both to have that victory to just see, and you both had your own process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, how you worked it out, how you walked out the process, right, how you walked out and endured the pain, like, you know, during that time that your husband just gets up and leaves, which is pretty much like your story. He's like, you know what, I
Yeah.
went to
Yeah.
Promise Keeper and I was filled with the Holy
Right.
Ghost, and you're not my wife.
Right.
And his, you're like, I don't even know why he took off.
Right.
We were doing good and waiting to be blessed. Like, he just gone. And you spiraled in a direction that you were like, forget this, God.
Yeah.
And you
Right.
went into a direction of, I need to numb it somehow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you dove right in to saying, God, I need to just be closer to you. And if we're not careful, someone will be like, see, that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But there's people, there is women that are sitting, that are listening, that feel so unworthy, that feel that shame, that feel that God will never listen to them, that they have no chance to have a blessing, to be double blessed. They don't, because they did it wrong, because they didn't say, oh God, I'm going to just be at your feet and I'm going to trust you and I'm going to surround myself because you were raised in church, right? I'm going to cling to my mom and what she's taught me and instilled in me, or, you know, my friends. You went another
Direction.
way. But
Yeah.
because there's someone that needs to hear your story. And God says, I'm never going to give you more than you can bear.
Yeah.
Never give you more than you can bear. And he gave you enough knowing that you were going to be victorious through that pain, that you were going to be that very important person that pushed through that pain,
Yes.
through that shame, through that guilt, through that hurt, and still sharing knowing that others are going to hear it.
Right.
And it changes nothing about you. It's just still so beautiful, like gorgeous. Like, I love it. And even just seeing Sister Chris, like, there's women that need to hear, like, you don't have to go this way.
This way.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You could stay at the feet of Jesus, even in that pain. And he's not afraid to hear that you are angry at him, that you don't trust him. Because I think we talked about that too.
Yeah.
Right? We
Yeah.
like to say because we felt like good girls.
Yes.
And we wouldn't
Well-
say like, no, I can't
Well,
say
we
that
don't.
I don't trust God.
Yeah.
But there was a moment when we were crying in our closet that if we were really honest, we
Right.
even got to that point where like, God, I don't know if I could trust you right now.
Yeah.
And you're
good.
still sitting here victorious, blessed. And share a little bit, like, I get so excited.
I do.
Like, I know it's they said and talked for a long time. I know his story. Like, remember what she said, like, he got up and left and he pretty much was the breadwinner. And now you're having to find to live by yourself.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, this goes to women, like, just to say, okay, what do you do now?
So while we were, 2015, I think I ended up changing careers because I stayed. He allowed me to stay home, take care of my grandmother for a couple years, and then I started selling real estate.
Wow.
And so I was always scared to sell real estate because it's commission, like,
Yeah.
But he had his job, he was carrying the benefits, so I was like, okay, we'll be okay, you know.
Because I have this cushion.
Yeah,
I'm leaving
Right.
your
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
This is
Yeah.
So then he leaves, and I'm like, oh shoot, like I really have to do this. What's plan B? Like, what's plan? Yeah. So the most that we made together, I've doubled it by myself. So
Shout
I
out.
know. Like,
Yes,
I'm just like, when you
bestie for
say
the bestie.
double, like that's
you
not.
did get
Yeah.
There's not.
Yeah.
That's just. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like
I love
that's
it.
not something that I ever thought. Because when you're young, you work, you live paycheck, all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
We were doing well or whatever, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, you did say double, so this is amazing, So what we did together, he doubled for me alone.
Wow.
Alone.
So like the
Wow.
highest that we've ever did, so I was just like, okay, God, I hear you, I see you. I'm waiting for the next promises. So I'm just excited for whatever he has next for me, for sure.
And so you're not in that place where you're like, oh, I never want to get married.
No.
Oh, she wants
I want to get married.
And I'm going to be her maid of honor. I don't care if you're her best.
But we're still going to be in there, though.
Yeah, you'll be in it.
We'll be in it,
Yeah, you
too.
just can't.
Yeah.
And then you guys can be in
Yeah.
mine because
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
still
yeah, yeah,
like
I'm gonna
waiting
be-
for
yeah,
She'll
right.
be my maid.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really do. I believe in marriage, and I believe in love, and I believe that. I mean, at first, like when I first got divorced, when the divorce and everything went through, I felt like I did have a lot of shame. I carried a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, and I felt like I had a scarlet letter on me. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, this is divorce is like,
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
messes you up, and
Yeah.
and it sucks, and it just messes up your identity. But for me, like it threw me closer to God, which was good. But I
Yes.
still had that shame and condemnation of like, oh, she's divorced, like she's going through a divorce. Which I always thought, fight for your marriage. Like, why are people getting divorced? Like, you should be fighting. And so I understand it now. It's kind of I had to get a
Wow.
little, yeah, I had to get
because we do. We're like, why are people just deciding to get divorced? Like they should be fighting, they should be doing everything that they can, but not being on the other side of it.
You just have this different type of grace for people when you actually go through
yes,
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
I think that it has made me more compassionate and stuff.
That's
for,
good.
for that
Yeah.
part of it,
Yeah.
and when we went to, so we all went to TD Jakes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I see them up there. I see Sarah and her husband, and they've both been divorced. And I'm just, I look at them and I'm
Yeah.
like, God can do this with with them, like he can do anything.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it just gave me that much more hope.
Wow.
Because I'm already excited, and I know that God's gonna send me someone amazing and someone that serves him and loves him. And I think I told you, like, you asked me what kind of man do you want? I'm like, I want the kind of man that's gonna go to church on Sunday when I'm out, you know,
If you're
doing
not there.
ministry. If I'm
Yeah.
not there, like go to like you don't need me to hold your hand because you have your own relationship with God.
That
Amen.
was powerful.
You know?
I love that. So you hear that? You
Yeah.
hear that, listeners? Those that were like, oh, I'm going to sign up. I think the Lord said she's my wife. Stop it.
We'll put her
Stop
number.
it.
We'll put her number.
no,
on.
please
It's
don't.
going to be on the bottom going across. Yeah, but you have to want to go to church even when she's not at church and
That's
she's out
right.
doing the
That's
Lord's
right.
business. So that
Yes.
just threw like 90% off.
Right? They're
Yeah,
like,
so-
oh, never mind.
And I just think sometimes people think God's a vending machine. Like, what can you do? What can you do? And you have to love him. Even like what I thought was going to happen didn't happen, but I can't turn my back on him because he's never turned his back on me. So how am I going to do that? I need to
That's good.
continue to just move forward, love him,
Yes.
and know that he has something for me. And it's
Yes.
hard. It's not easy all the time. You know, it's hard when I have to go home and be by myself when I just want to, you know, that's the
I'm there
hard
with
part.
you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I know
And there's times we go home and we're just like,
Yeah, I know. Like, move over. You're showing. That's
not even right.
that's going to be another episode when single people want to be married and the married people are like, I need a she shed.
Girl,
know,
scoot
right?
over.
Scoot over.
Too close.
But and I always think that for me, I think I heard, I don't even remember which pastor said it. You know, when we go to heaven, it's going to be all roses and sunshine and
Yeah.
rainbows. But the closest that you'll ever be to God is when you're in your pain and you're at your lowest and
yeah,
you're
for
reaching
sure.
out to him, and you'll never be that close to him. I mean, I distinctly remember a
Wow.
few times where I just could feel him just hugging me and just being there. And I'm just like bawling, like holding my hand, driving
Wow.
home, just things like that, that I don't think when you're like, you can probably too, when you're in that much pain and you have no one else to call out to and he's there
Yeah.
for you.
Right.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yes.
It's just so comforting. And I don't want to say that I would go through all of this again,
Right.
but to be where I'm at right now
Yeah.
and the relationship that I have with him is worth it,
That's
you know?
it.
And if it had to lose you know, the divorce went through and everything. And so
You're like, I'm not going to
I'm not-
despise
no.
the broken areas in my life. 'Cause
No.
That's
Right.
what establishes our relationship with God.
And I think for a little, it took me a minute to like really come to terms with that.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm okay. People will say, I'm like, well, I'm okay. I have God, so I'm good. Like, be sad for the other people that are out there doing whatever they're doing and they don't have God.
Yeah.
You know, even
like
you
our
know.
darkest day is still the
Yeah.
brightest day because we have God in it.
Exactly.
exactly. So it took me a minute, but I'm good.
Yes.
I did have a little bit of, you know, I had my grandmother passed away and she was like my heart and soul. So I kind of struggled there for a little bit after, when she passed away in 2020, and that kind of, but I always knew even in that, like that was the most painful thing. As much as my divorce hurt and as much as I loved him, the way I loved my grandmother and the way that our relationship was, like it was really hard. And like God told me she's gonna be okay, and I heard that, but it didn't happen the way I thought. So that is what really devastated me. That is what threw me, and that is what I knew that I had to hold on to the garment, like to the thread, and the thread had to be connected to God, because he knew I couldn't do anything. I remember driving home from my sister's and I couldn't even talk to God. I couldn't pray. I just was driving, and it had been a couple of days already. And he's like, I remember a song came on. He's like, "Are you ready to talk to me now?" And I'm like, I guess so. But he never left me, you know. And he was so patient with me, and he
Yeah.
just waits. He doesn't come in and
Forcefully.
push forcefully.
Yeah, such a gentleman.
Yes. So that was really hard. That experience was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever been through.
And, you know, that's another thing is that we hear God and we'll hear something that is in our spirit. So he told you, your grandma's going to be okay. But we take it, and if we're not careful, we take it like, oh, okay, here for me, you're meaning I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't say you were going to be okay. I said she was
She's
going to
gonna
be
be
okay.
okay.
And she is okay because
Now she's
when we're
okay.
not here, Jesus receives us.
Yes.
And so she is okay,
Yeah.
you know, but then we don't understand. And we're like, wait, God, you said it like this.
Yes.
I don't understand. But he was like, yeah, your thoughts are not mine. For my
Right.
thoughts
That's
are
right.
higher. And like, if we're not careful, we can get caught up into like our Christian lingo or this is how it's supposed to be done.
Right.
But I love like even just how God is so personal because he's even like, okay, you ready to talk
I
to
know.
me? You ready to talk to me?
Yeah. And he put
Yeah.
on the perfect
Okay.
song, everything. It was just, everything was just so good. And so, you know, again, she's, it's funny because I mean, she was like 92. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I
she's
know.
supposed to live to be 100. Like, you know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah,
we
'cause
were-
that's
we
our
weren't
desire,
Yes,
like,
and
for
we
them
weren't
to remain
expecting
here.
it. And so it was
Yeah.
just
Right.
a lot. And so, and I was with her, we were together all the time. So, I mean, she would spend the night with me on Christmas Eve. Like she was always with me and stuff. So that was really heartbreaking. That was the worst pain. Even my divorce wasn't that as painful as that.
Wow.
So I just know that God has been there for me through and through, and I just want to love him and serve him. So when I see other people getting, you know, it makes me so happy and it makes me
Yeah.
so joyful, and I just want everybody to be happy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets annoying because I'm like, you know what he did? And she's like, you gotta love him, Andrea. I'm like, gosh.
It reminds me of that Lego movie. Everything is awesome. No, it's not.
Stop telling me I need to love him.
I love it. Well, it was such an amazing time with you guys in Georgia.
It was so fun.
It was so
It
much
was
fun.
fun.
That definitely has to be another episode.
Yes.
Yes.
Talk about our adventures.
Yeah.
Yes, it was so fun. But we are just so blessed that you guys said yes,
Yes.
to be on VIP Podcast. You know,
for
don't
inviting us.
despise the little because right now it seems like a little, but just wait.
I know, right? You're gonna blow up.
I'm
Not
not
this
blowing
way.
up this way.
No.
This way, no. But you know, I know that this is all God's. He orchestrated
Orchestrated, yeah,
this
for
because there is listeners that he needs to reach to.
Yeah.
And there's two stories almost the same yet so different. Two victories in the pain, two victories in the process, two victories in the patience, persecution, you know, yet so different. But the one thing that is the same and that's consistent
Yep.
is not just your friendship for one another, but one thing that is common is that it's God.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's amazing, right? And
Right.
he does it how he knows he needs to do it. Like really, like I think I was sharing yesterday, and then we'll close up here. Is that, you know, we talk about like God is so personal. He talks to you where you're at,
Yeah.
how he knows you to
Right.
be. Like to me, like he doesn't come and say, "Oh, do you want to talk now?" and play me a song,
a pretty
or
song.
Yeah.
He's like, "Girl, get up." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I ain't playing with you no more. Now go. You know who you are. Stop crying right there.
Yeah.
They never liked you anyway, so why are you crying?"
Right.
Yes.
You're like, okay.
Okay. And then I go out, put my hair up, and I talk about, let's preach again about Jesus, you know?
on.
Yeah.
And then, but that's the way I respond,
Yeah.
right? And trust me, there's times that I want, like, God, I want to be sweet and gentle. Like, talk to me. But he knows, and he knows that that's what you would need to hear.
Right.
And I love that about him. I love that he's so
Yeah.
personal.
So personal.
Like that.
It's funny that you say that because you said that yesterday and it's been just resonating with me. I'm
Mm.
like, God, you even like thinking about my testimony again. You are so personal. Like,
right?
you came to me in my darkest hour and you just like, and even today, like in my daily life, he is so personal. He'll answer questions when you ask him, you know, even if it's a little thing.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
a God who's
Yeah.
so, I just love that you said that yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just been in me all day.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you. So,
Personal God.
remember, he's speaking to you. He might be
Yes.
speaking to you through the ice cream. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real.
He's like, you're on
those-
I'm on the toilet. Yeah, because you're full of. No, I'm just kidding. That's another episode. Sorry. Keeping Jesus.
all
Yeah,
around.
keeping Jesus.
Rewind.
Yes, he's so real.
So,
Yeah, real
but
love, for
you know,
sure.
thank you,
Thank you,
Thank you
ladies.
for
Having
inviting
us.
us. We love
Yes.
you. We're glad that you're
Yes.
besties.
Yes,
you,
thank you.
all besties.
We really did become close.
Yes,
so
yeah,
we
thank
did.
you
We
so
did.
much.
We love
It
you,
was
yeah.
this was a special episode that we got to have you beautiful ladies on here sharing.
you.
And so yes, so you want to close this out? Tell
Yeah.
our listeners
Yes.
to listen.
Listen, VIP podcast. Remember, it's just an extension of Arise Global
yes.
Changers. And don't forget to subscribe because it's going to notify you when the next episode is out and ready for you to listen or view. So, and don't forget, we share it on Facebook too.
Yes.
So don't forget to like on Facebook. And anything else?
Nope, just VIP podcast.
Is it like this? This?
Then pretty soon
Bye.
you're gonna have to. Then you're gonna have to start